Another type of pattern that is not part of the flow and the growth pattern is net patterns, and they are ones where they're formed due to lateral tension between two elements, which may be shrinkage, such as the patterning of mud, for example. As you get mud dry out, it forms all these kind of cracked patterns that you see in the landscape, or it could be in a spider web, how you've got these tensile strings and you've got the net forming between them, so it creates this net form. So you've got drying mud and you've got a spider web. Or you can see them in cases where there's a storage of elements in that landscape. So in a beehive, for example, you've got the cells of the beehive being stored as normally a hexagonal type of shape. And by taking on that shape, they are forming the most efficient geometry for storage of materials within that landscape. And in both cases, whether it's drying mud or it could be the cracking of bark, for example, or spider webs or storage of materials, they all form these kind of regular net-like structures within your landscape. And you can make use of that in your designs that you incorporate. These are great as paths or stepping stones, these kind of irregular, kind of cracked mud almost in form. So if you want to create stepping stones in a pathway, they can be quite nicely patterned on that kind of structure. This drying bark kind of cracked structure is a way, probably more in zone 1, but if you want to kind of architecturally structure vertical elements, you can kind of break up their structure with these kind of cracked forms to create interesting geometrical you can create interesting geometries within the vertical structures by imitating that cracked bark structure. And again, for storage, if you want to create some element that stores, say, water or food within your landscape, and you want to make the best use of the space you have available, you can again pattern it on this geometry that you see in beehives and other ways that nature stores elements to store the elements that you want. So it might be a flow form, for example. A flow form is where there's water moving through normally cast concrete forms, and it helps aerate the water and therefore help purify the water. And if you want to capture and store the most water in these flow forms, you might pattern them in a hexagonal shape with a curving inner area to allow the water to flow in clockwise and counterclockwise directions within.